Up the road, we have a little breakaway in the very early stages of this race. Tour de Bloom Stage 6. You can see around this little loop. They're actually going up the left-hand stretch of the loop where there's a little bit of a hill, and then they exit the loop and go onto this road, which is Joe Miller. Quite a climb, and it's got beautiful views up here over Wenatchee, where the race starts in, I think, Malaga, and the breakaway was still off the front. You can see them right here. There's Kelly Benefits, Tag, Project Echelon, and Cascadia all represented in that breakaway move. So all the big teams essentially are up there, except for Teyrun Speed Block, which don't have a guy up there. But the peloton, not too far behind. You can see from this drone shot just how far behind they are. And this is during the first big lap of the second loop that they have. So they do the Joe Miller loop right after the smaller town loops. And here we have Jonah, winner of the crit and the plain road race stage. A little bit farther behind there, but he was able to finish the race in that green jersey. So they had this second time around the loop here, and the breakaway had greatly reduced in size. Still had, I think that's Kaler there in Cascadia, and then they have Echelon and Kelly Benefits up there in the breakaway, but the peloton behind were pulling up stragglers from the breakaway. You can see some stragglers going back to the peloton. Again, beautiful views up here on Joe Miller Road. And the peloton was actually getting super stretched out up on this hill. The climbing for this stage seemed pretty brutal, and it just was a race of staying on to the group. You can see all the Teyrun guys there, relaxing pretty well. Echelon right towards the front there too, with Kelly Benefits doing a little bit of pacing. They didn't have the leader's jersey anymore, that given to Nathan. Then we go down to the descent here on Loop Road. It continued up Loop Road, and then there's a little descent. You can see Sierra going down the descent on the drone shot, and then finally to the Mission Ridge climb, which was the day one climb. This climb is pretty brutal, but I'll let Kent explain to you how the race went down.
So we had a big break went early in the race, and then after that it was just kind of like we had a few attacks, but for the most part it was pretty controlled. And then we got to the last climb and there was like 5 or 6 of us, but like there were some attacks, but it was pretty clear that like nothing was really going to stick, and with the headwind it was like kind of risky to do something because it was a long way to go to the finish line. You kind of weren't dropping anyone.
Nathan had a minute.
Yeah, Nathan had 110 on
GC, yeah.
And he was kind of using it to his advantage.
There's some sneaky attacks in the finale, but it seemed like they always went when it was too flat, and it was easy to just get the wheels. And then 1.5K to go, Nathan drew a flyer, got a pretty big gap.
First Cam went. I was about to go, and then Cam went, which was nice because then Cam got us like halfway across.
So you heard from Kent and Logan there about how the last 10 kilometers broke down. Cameron and Kent and Logan all in a little front group with Nathan off the front, which you can see in the beginning of this little drone shot, but there he is right there. Nathan with quite a gap in the drone here. I did not expect any gap to be that closable, so I'm going to follow Nathan here. He's got a sizable gap with here only 200 meters to go as they get onto the gravel stretch, and he looks back, so I can tell he's hurting pretty good. Get around this corner, and all of a sudden Kent just comes out of nowhere with Logan on his wheel and gets out of the saddle. I think Nathan was just pretty deep at that point. Logan couldn't quite come around for the finish, so Kent Ross to take the win on stage 6. The GC ended up shaking out with Nathan taking the win. I'll leave it to the podiums and credits. Thanks for watching. See ya.